So I do a lot of goal setting and I do a lot of planning to do work where I will make, like, I've literally got a list up there of things to do, the goals like that that I've set for myself for these holidays and the time I want to spend on each thing. So I've got like this goal of doing 2 hours of homework every morning before I even do anything for the rest of the day, which I've already failed on this first day, but we'll get to that in a second. And I have this constant cycle of making these new goals and new plans and new things that I think will get me up and about and doing stuff. But in reality, it's just another form of procrastination. Like, it helps to know where you want to go. It helps to write this down, and like recording my thoughts and feelings is really good because I can come back to it and think, oh yeah, I actually did do this, I did do that. I know what happens in this circumstance. But in terms of goal setting and planning out the work you're gonna do, like saying, I'm gonna plan out this whole next 2 weeks of this is what I'm gonna spend my time on for the next 2 weeks. None of that shit matters unless you actually do the work. And a lot of the time, it's like a coping mechanism for keeping on getting distracted. Like, it's like, I'm not gonna get distracted because I've got a plan. But in reality, that does not work at all. Like, for me, I set these goals, I set these plans, I say I'm not gonna get distracted, and maybe I do start, maybe I do a little bit, but as soon as I go on my phone, that plan just goes out the window and I'm off at the fairies. And plan or not, goals or not, I get distracted. And the only way to pull myself back out of that moment and not spend hours scrolling or watching YouTube or whatever is making a decision to put the phone back down. And you can't plan for that. You can't have visual cues. Like, I've tried, trust me, I've tried doing the visual cues, tried doing the goal setting for less than 2 hours of screen time a day. But if you make that decision to pick your phone up and you don't make the decision to put it back down and get to work, there's nothing you can do. There's no plan, nothing that can stop you from doing that. The only way that you get out of that or you stop yourself from picking up that phone is consciously saying, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna pick my phone up. I'm gonna put it back down. I'm gonna keep working. Like, at the end of the day, all this planning, all this strategy, all the visual cues, all the like environmental stuff, like, of course it's easier to do work if it's sitting there right in front of you instead of when you're on your phone. And in that sense, it does help a little bit. But in reality, you can plan as much as you fucking want and still make the decision to go sit on your phone. So the opposite of that, you can plan nothing. You can say, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, but right now, in this moment, I'm gonna make a decision to go down and do that work. Right now, in this moment, I'm gonna make a decision to make a YouTube video. Whatever it is, read that book, fucking listen to that podcast. All those little things that you wanna get done, all you need to do is make the decision that you're gonna do it. Not a week before you're gonna say, I'm gonna do all this work, all this stuff, it's all gonna get done. You make the decision in the moment. You say, in this present moment right now, I make the decision to open my laptop up and get that assignment done, get that piece of work done that I need doing. And you make that decision. Like, it doesn't stop there. Once you've opened your laptop up and you've started writing, it doesn't stop there. You've got to continue to make the same decision. You've got to say, I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to stick with this. And obviously, the decision is easier once you're doing it, and it gets easier. Like, after you do that first 15 minutes where it's kind of slow and you're like, I feel like I need some dopamine right now. If you don't if you stop yourself from picking your phone up and you continue with it, it makes it easier. And every time you come back to your laptop, you come back to your project, your assignment, whatever you're working on, the next time that you have to make that decision, it's a lot easier. But the reverse happens as well. So if you are constantly about to start work and then you pick your phone up and you scroll for a bit and you put it back down and then you try again and you do the same thing, every time you reward that behavior, because picking up your phone is an immediate reward. Like, you just get all this dopamine, little like distraction shit. I don't need to go on the science of it, but as soon as you do that, you reward yourself for that action. So if you continue to do that, it makes it harder and harder and harder to focus for that first 15, 20 minutes. Like you're going to be sitting there. This is what has happened to me, by the way. You're going to be sitting there fucking struggling to type words out on the Word document because all your brain wants to do in that moment is make the decision to pick your phone up and look at shit. And it fucking sucks. Because then you have these moments of clarity where you're like, oh, if only I'd spent the last year grinding this shit out, I'd be so much further ahead than I am right now. Let's make a plan for next year. Let's make a plan for this next month. Let's say I'm going to do all this shit and it's all going to be perfect. I'm going to get 6 hours of work done every day. Nothing's going to distract me. You plan it all out. You say, no distractions. You write no distractions, no excuses down on your planning thing. You print it out. You stick it on your wall. And then you're there doing your work. You're struggling to type things out. And you're in the same position. And you just make that decision to pick your phone back up. So goal setting, optimization, planning, all of that is important somewhat. But the most important thing is that you have to just work. Just work. Just make that decision. Go, yep, for this present moment, I'm going to type some shit out. The next time you get writer's block, I'm going to make the decision to not pick my phone up and instead sit there, look through the stuff, figure it out, start writing again. It's all a decision. You can, no matter how hard the circumstances are, no matter how many distractions you've got going on, it is purely a decision. It might not be conscious at times. There's this theory that the reason consciousness is the slight moment between the stimulus and your response. So you have the ability to process the stimulus, the boredom, the emotion or whatever, and consciously think of a response. And some people don't even think, they just do. They get the stimulus and they respond to it. But if you, that moment, that conscious moment is the decision you have to make. And that's the only way to get past your procrastination. There is no hack. Those things help, but you could do all the hacks. This is what I've been struggling with. I've learned all the hacks. I've watched all the videos. I've read the books, and I'm still procrastinating. I'm still getting distracted, and it's come down to it is just a decision. You can have all the distraction. You can have all the right environmental cues for it, and it makes it easier to make that decision. But if you don't make the right decision, none of it fucking matters. And vice versa, you could have everything wrong, all the disadvantages. But if you make that decision that you're going to go get that thing done, not a whole lot can stop you. Think about that for a second.